Welcome to Classroom 2.0 Live for Saturday, April 23rd. Our topic today is going to be educational branding, and our presenter is going to be Desiree Alexander. I am one of the show hosts. I'm Tammy Moore. We also have Peggy George. Lori Moffett is out for the day, and Paula Nuggle is going to be here doing the introduction. All right, the newbie question that we're going to give to Paula is going to be presented by Paula, and she's also going to give us an introduction to our speaker. Okay, Paula, take it away.
All right, can everybody hear me? All right, it is my great honor and pleasure to introduce our special guest today, Ms. Desiree Alexander. And I'm going to give you a little background on what she does. Desiree is an award-winning, multi-degreed educator who's been in the educational field for 14 years. She is currently the Instructional Technology Supervisor for Cato Parish Public Schools in Louisiana. She is the founder of Educator Alexander, an educational consulting business. She consults with members of several schools and businesses and presents at conferences nationwide. She holds various certifications as well as multiple technology certifications, including being a Google certified trainer and a Microsoft certified educator. She is the 2015 Librarian of the Year for Louisiana Library Association, 2014 Leader of the Year for Region 2 for LaQ, and a Campus 2015 Teacher of the Year in the Zachary Community School District. She also sits on the Louisiana Association of Computer Using Educators Board of Directors. Since I am also a member of the LaQ board, I first met Desiree at our board retreat in February this year. Then I had the pleasure of seeing her present at one of our regional conferences in March, and I also attended her webinar on branding. Desiree and I are currently working on a project to create videos on tech tools for members of the LaQ community. That is, unless she fires me, because I'm kind of behind on my job. But Desiree, I'm going to work on them this weekend. But Desiree is a go-getter. She has definitely learned and is very useful as far as helping others learn about educational branding. And I am excited to introduce her today. And I'm going to start off by giving her the newbie question to answer. Desiree, why is it important to have an educational brand, whether for yourself or your school or organization? And it's your turn, Desiree. Thank you.
Okay, we are going to jump into educational branding and why it's important to have one, whether for yourself or for your school and organization. So for the newbie question, I'm going to go ahead and start my presentation because that is exactly where we begin. So first of all, I am Educator Alexander, aka Desiree Alexander, and we've already talked about what we're going to learn today, and my website is on the screen. Okay, so for the newbie question, what is branding? First of all, branding is not a one-time thing. It's not a special event. It is a marketing strategy that involves creating a differentiated name and image for yourself. What makes you different from all the other educators in the world? Okay, so it's kind of pinning that down and creating a marketing strategy for it. Why do you do it? Is to establish a presence in the consumer's mind and attract and keep customers. And you may be thinking, well, I'm in education. We don't have consumers and customers. Oh, yes, we do. And we're going to talk about that in a second. The next thing I want to do is kind of show you a video to kind of get your head around what branding really is. what branding is in more of a global setting. And the part that I really love is you make the brand. Okay, you can make or break a brand. So who are our customers? Because of course we're in education. So who are our consumers? Who are our customers? Well, the first set right here are our fellow educators, our PLN, our personal learning network. Okay, they're our consumers. Of course, we have our students, our parents, and just the global community itself. So we have a bunch of consumers and our customers. Why do you need to brand? You need to establish an image for yourself. Okay, control the message that's getting out there about either your school, your classroom, or of course you can do personal branding of yourself. You want to engage your stakeholders, build that understanding and trust. When you see Coca-Cola on the shelf, you trust it usually. We trust our certain brand. Some of us go into a store and we just go straight to our brand. We don't even look at what's new. We know that we like Kraft. We're going to get Kraft cheese. We're done. We just go straight to our brand. And that's what we want our consumers to do when it comes to us and our school. We want them to look at, I'm going to use one of our people, to look at Roxanne Clement and go, oh, well, I know she's a good brand. I don't have to go any further. I know if it's coming from her that it's going to be quality. And that's what we want. We want to show you, your value, your worth, and your skills. A lot of people don't know what you do. They don't know what you do, and you need to promote it. If you're not promoting it, no one else will. We want to give consistent self-reflecting. When you're branding, you're constantly going, what can I do better? What can I do better? What can I do better? And of course, we want that as educators. We want to connect your global peers. I've met so many people since I've branded that I've learned so much from. I mean, it really is a great PLN out there. You want to share and learn, and it also helps with employability because they see that you have branded, they see that you're doing more than just what's happening in your classroom, your school, and your community. They see that you are not afraid to learn and you're not afraid to put yourself out there. If you put yourself out there, of course, you open yourself to scrutiny. So if you're putting yourself out there, people are going to see, okay, well, they must have something going on, something positive going on for them to put themselves out there. Where do you start? This is the question I get the most. Yeah, well, I know what branding is. I know why it's important, but I have no clue where to start. So I've created two documents. One is a branding planning template that you can see up here. They are both on my website. The link is going up right now where you can find these. So this is one, and you see the different categories. We're going to talk about all of them today, and I'm going to talk a little quickly so we can try to get through all of them. We're going to talk about your goal, vision, mood, symbol, name, colors, logo, tagline, social media, and website blog. I also created this one, Educator Alexander's Branding Planning Chart, where you can download this and use it to start planning your actual brand. Okay, so first step is, why do you want to brand? That's a very, very, very good question to start with, because you don't want to just say, well, I just want a brand just to have a brand, because if you do that, it's probably going to fail. You're not going to have a direction. So why do you want to brand? Oh, I want to share all the awesome things I do. Okay, that's a good reason to brand. Well, I want to share all the good handouts that I make and all the good PowerPoints that I make with fellow educators. That's a good reason to brand. Okay, what are your biggest strengths? Think about that. Think about yourself. What are you passionate about? Because that's where you want to lead your brand. And you may be thinking, oh, well, I really like math. Of course, I teach math. Well, are you passionate about math? Well, no, I'm kind of passionate more about technology. Then that's where you want to lead your brand. What are you passionate about? What just gets your blood flowing? Because that's what you want your brand to be. What makes you unique? What makes you different from all the other math teachers in your school? What makes you different from all the other math teachers in the world? Well, I think that all of the things that I create make me different. Okay, let's go there. Okay, determine your target audience. You may want to brand, and your audience may only be your parents. Maybe that's where you want to brand to. You want to brand and make sure that your parents know how to help their children when their children go home. Okay, your target audience may be your school, it may be your community, it just may be, your personal learning network. It depends on what you're passionate about, and that will lead you to where your target audience is. You want to create a communication plan. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that later, but how do you want to communicate with people? Do you want to harvest emails? When I say harvest, that means collect emails. Do you want to use social media? You have to create a plan. Don't just go into this willy-nilly, because again, you don't want to get out there, fail, and then have to create a whole new brand later. Do your research. Who's already out there? You can look at the chat and see a whole bunch of educators who are interested in this. They may already have a brand. Who's already out there? Connect with them. Okay, don't be afraid. When I first started branding and I would see somebody who's doing awesome at it, I wouldn't get depressed. I would connect with them and go, hey, what resources did you use? I love this. I'm not going to copy it, but what resources did you use? I want to use the same ones. I like it. I'll do something different. Check around, do some research. And lastly, ask yourself, where do you want to be in 5 years with your brand? That's your vision. Where do you want to be in 5 years? Well, in 5 years, I want to be an educational leader who people go to. You have to remember that Harry Wong and all these people that we go to started somewhere. And that's what you're doing. You are starting somewhere. They didn't just come out and say, hey, I'm Harry Wong, and everybody say, hey, we love you. Okay, so you have to start somewhere. So where do you want to be in those 5 years? Okay, the next thing for your brand is to pick what mood do you want to have. Okay, you want to be fun, you want to just kind of have a simplistic, you want to be playful, very serious. Any of these, even if you're fun and playful, you still keep it professional. So professional, you want to be kind of more subdued, more cartoony, sassy, feminine, masculine. You need to decide what mood do you want your brand to convey. And you see some pictures here. We have the brand voice of feminine, pretty, and adventurous, bold, quirky, and fun. You can see the colors, earthy, natural, simple. So you decide what mood you want your brand to convey. Next is your symbol. And I know I'm going pretty quickly, but I want to try to make sure that we get through everything. And then we want to have time for questions at the end. So what is your symbol? What represents you? What represents what you're trying to accomplish? You can see my symbol became an apple. I was thinking I love monkeys, so I wanted it to be a monkey. I love Superman, so I started to do the Superman logo. And after I went through a whole bunch of different things, my apple became my kind of simplistic. That's what represents me. It's just all education, all encompassing. I didn't want it to be just technology or just reading or just library science or just all these things that I'm really interested in and that have led me, that have been my career. I wanted it to just be all encompassing. I felt the apple represented that. So what represents you? What represents what you're trying to accomplish? Do you want your symbol to be a cartoon or a real life picture? And whatever it is, make sure that you're keeping it positive. And you'll be surprised. You're like, well, of course I'm going to keep it positive. It's my brand. You'll be surprised at some stuff that kind of comes out. And you're like, well, that's not really positive about parents. That's not really positive about education. So you want to definitely keep it positive. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more when we talk about social media, that you can have your personal social media and then you need to have your brand social media, where if you put that negative comment about a political party, that doesn't go on your brand. That goes on your personal. And you may not want to put it on your personal, but that's up to you. But it doesn't go on your brand. So you're going to keep everything positive when it comes to the symbol that you pick and things like that. And you can kind of see I got this from a website, elevating symbols to the status of being part of the identity reflects your potential power. And like Peggy put in the chat, even kids know McDonald's arches. Even before they know how to read, they know, oh, that's where I get my Happy Meal from. So that's kind of what we want when you're sending home things with your symbol and your logo on it. If a parent passes by a table and sees that logo, I want them to get a warm and fuzzy in their heart. They know, oh, that's whatever my child is working on right now, that's something good because I know the symbol, I know the logo. Okay, what name do you want to use for your brand? So most people today will use just their name, like Desiree Alexander, okay, Peggy Jars, Paula Nagel. A lot of people use their name, and when branding kind of first became hot and heavy with education, it was a good idea at that time to use just kind of random names like big hat librarian and different stuff like that. Now we're kind of moving into using your real name, but it really is up to you. Like, I didn't want to use my complete full name because I wanted it to be a little bit different, but I did want to have my name somewhere in it. So that's how I came up with Educator Alexander. So Alexander is still in there, but I could also have personal stuff with Desiree Alexander. So I wanted it to be, a little bit different. You don't want to use something that may change soon. So, for example, you don't want to put, oh, I'm the sixth grade ELA hot specialist or something like that because you may not be sixth grade next year. Okay, so you want to leave it a little bit generic. Like I said, I put Educator Alexander. I've been a librarian before, now I'm in instructional technology. I may go somewhere, who knows? So, but it's going to be in education. So I left it general in that sense. So you can see that you may want to use your inventor's name, which would be yourself. You may want to describe what you do, like Southwest Airlines. We fly South, it tells you exactly what they do. And you may want to describe the image or the experience, like sprints, fast. If you feel like it is. Take a word out of context, like Apple. Make a word up, like Google. But two things I want you to do before you just kind of slam on a name is to check all social media to make sure that your name is available. So the first thing I did when I created Educator Alexander is I went to all the social media I can think of and I tried to see if Educator Alexander was available, and it was. So I went with it. Also, check your URL. When you first get started, you may not buy your website yet, but you still want to make sure that Educator Alexander is available. .com is available, or .org, or whatever. So check these two things when you kind of get a name to see if that's the name you want to stick with. The colors of your symbol and your logo. Does the color make sense with your symbol or logo? Okay, do you want one color, which of course if you are printing something or getting a shirt made with your logo, one color is usually better because it's cheaper. But do you want one color or do you want multiple colors? I love these two emotion guides, and if you just Google color emotion guide, you can come up with a whole bunch of them. Peggy just put a link to the emotion guides, but they kind of show you what different colors mean. So do think about that. My favorite color in the world is purple. So I was going to make a purple monkey and a purple Superman symbol and a purple apple. And I was like, well, Desiree, let's go ahead and stick to the colors of a real apple. But your EA can be purple. And that's why my logo has the four with the yellow colors. So think about, don't just go with just your favorite. I love this color, so that's what it has to be. Kind of look at what the colors represent, and think about, does the color make sense with your symbol or with your goal that you're doing? Okay. Your tagline. Your tagline is that those little couple of words that you use to kind of let people know what it is you do. So to begin the process by asking yourself the following questions about your tagline. What does your brand do? What do you do? Okay. I know, like, I have educator in my title. So most people can see educator Alexander and figure I'm doing something with education. But some people, if I just had Desiree Alexander, then I would be asking, what does your brand do? Like, I don't understand. So you need a tagline. Why does your brand exist? What is your brand striving to become? Like, what's the point of what you do? That's how you create your tagline. What core values guide your brand? How is your brand unique and what separates it from the rest of the pack? What solution? Think about that, especially with education. What solution does your brand want to promote? Okay, I want to get technology and just branding and all this kind of stuff out to the masses. Okay, so what does it promote? What is your brand's key strength? Who's your target audience, which we talked about before? And what compels people to use your brand over everything else? Okay, because you should know your audience. So what's going to compel them to use you over other people? So and that's how you kind of come up with your tagline. Your logo. Everything that we just talked about goes into your logo. The mood, the color, the symbol, the name. We're going to talk about website, blog, social media, your tagline. Everything comes together. And I keep looking at the comments. Okay, I'm gonna get away from the comments. All of the everything comes together to build your logo. So think about all this stuff and then you put it together. Like you see my EA apple, you put it together and it becomes your logo. You should have different sizes of your logo. So think about doing a banner size. If you create a website or your social media, you want to have a banner size. Make sure you have a box one, like the EA apple that you see on here is more of a little box size. So I can put that right by my name or other stuff when I'm doing flyers. You want one with your name. So my name is Educator Alexander, so I do have one with the actual name, one without. And you also want to have a transparent one and one with a white background. Okay, so the one that you see on the PowerPoint right now is a transparent background, which means it doesn't have anything in the background. So I can put it on a color and it shows up really well because you want your logo to be very clean and professional. So for example, you see the ones with my name, the one that looks like more of a banner. I have just a clean one and then one on a little colorful background. So this is what I'm talking about. So the top three are transparent. I can put them on any color and they'll look okay. And the bottom one is not transparent. And you can see the brand identity and logo. I'm trying not to read to you too much. And the 5 principles of an effective logo. Okay, you want it to be memorable, simple, timeless. Like I said, if I go somewhere else in education or do something different, I'm still in education. I'm still Educator Alexander. Versatile, and you want it to definitely be appropriate. I see we have a lot of good questions. I can't wait to get to them. Okay, social media. You do want to have your brand accounts, not your personal account, but your brand account. So think about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google+, Pinterest, a YouTube channel, Periscope, Snapchat, whatever social media accounts come up. You want to think about getting your brand account. The only personal account I have is Facebook, but then I had to make a brand account for Facebook. So all of my other accounts are brand accounts, which means I'm not, commenting on The Walking Dead when it comes out on my brand account. I'll comment on it on my personal account, but not my brand account. So your brand account, you want to keep professional. You want to keep it, whatever your audience is and whatever you're sending out, you want to keep it professional. And you have your personal account for everything else. Also, we talked about making sure that your name can fit your social media. So if you're Educator Alexander, make sure you can get that on all of your social media, or at least close to it. Website and or blog. I know some people that don't officially have a website, but they have a blog, which is pretty much, the same as a website. So decide if you want a website or a blog. Right now, I don't have a blog. I only have a website. But my friend is actually going to be doing a webinar on blogging. After I see what she has to offer, I may create a blog. So it's really up to you, but you want to make sure that your URL name can fit what you want it to fit. So I wanted Educator Alexander, and I used the Weebly account, which is a free website account. So it was educatoralexander.weebly.com for a long time. And then I paid for the account and I took off the .weebly.com. To get a domain name is super easy. Sometimes they offer it for $1 for the first year. So you can get a paid account for not that much money. So you need to think about, for whatever website you use, do you want a paid or unpaid website account? And then do you want to purchase your domain? And that's when you purchase your .com, .org, or whatever it's going to be. You want to advertise your account. So of course, if you have your social media, you want to put your website or blog out there. Do you want to harvest email addresses? Is up to you. What that means is when they come to your website or blog, it'll ask, hey, put your email in here. Or it'll say, hey, to get this for free, to get my free newsletter, put your email here, and that way you get emails that you can send advertisements to later. You want to create original material as much as you can, because you want to put your brand on everything. So if you create a handout, your brand should be on there. Whatever you create, put your brand on there, and then you can share it if you want to. I know some people use Teachers Pay Teachers. They share it for free, or they share it for a cost. You can share it straight from your website or blog as well. And it's kind of up to you if you want to do the paid route or the free route. You want to schedule your post to your social media and to your website and blog. They have different companies that let you do that, and I can kind of go through a couple if we have time. But you want to schedule your post. So what that means is I may put a post out there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I tell it to go out at noon. So it'll hit Twitter at noon, and people are like, why is she posting from work? But I'm not. I scheduled my post. Also, for your website and for your blog, you want to schedule, okay, I'm going to post on my blog 2 times a week, every Tuesday and Thursday. So it kind of gets you in the headspace of doing it, because if you don't, then people are going to lose interest. It's like, oh, I signed up for this. He never posts anything. I'm going to drop it. With your PDF documents, when you're putting stuff on your website, usually it's going to be in a PDF document. You can decide if you want your PDF to be secure or unsecure. What that means is if it's secure, you probably have a PDF, a paid Adobe program where you can make your documents secure, which means people can't transform them into a Word document. So it's kind of up to you. I usually don't secure mine because I'm sharing it for you to use it however you want to, but it's really up to you. It's something to think about. Okay, some tips just from me and the things that I've done is, number one, get yourself a professional picture. That's not a picture that your granddaughter took. That's not a selfie. Get yourself a professional picture, even if it's the school picture that goes in the yearbook. Okay, and just, maybe crop out the the picture part, the picture company part. But get yourself a professional picture. That's number one. Because when you do webinars and conferences, they're going to ask you to submit a picture. Also, get yourself or write yourself a professional bio. Okay, what I mean by various lengths is get yourself a really big bio. Put everything you've done. Just take that resume and put it in a paragraph. Okay, do a big one, but then do some smaller ones, because everybody's not going to sit there and read a whole page on you when they introduce you. Okay, so get various lengths. Get yourself maybe a 75 word or less bio, one that can fit on a flyer. Do various lengths and just save it as a file on your desktop. So that way, when somebody says, hey, I really liked what you talked about, can you do a webinar or a conference? You can just hurry up and send them your bio and your picture. It's not a big deal to you, and they're going to be happy that you responded so quickly. Presentation descriptions. When you have presentations that you do a description. You have to submit a description when you go to conferences and things like that. Have your descriptions just ready to go. That way you're not stressed out when you see that, this conference is up for proposals. You won't get stressed out. You have it already. Keep your resume updated. It doesn't mean you're trying to get another job. Just keep it updated. You never know who's going to ask for it, and you can just send it at the drop of a hat. Have some type of evaluation for yourself. Like on my website, I have a comment section when you go on and put a, how did you like the presentation. So have some type of evaluation so people can see, oh, you know, she actually is doing something and people actually like it. Put your logo on everything. Everything is a promotion. You see my PowerPoint, right? Every slide has my doggone logo on it. So that's what you want. Have your everything is a constant promotion. And it's not, don't get, you know, egregious with it and annoying with it, but put your logo on everything. Everything is a constant promotion. I suggest getting a Google Voice phone number so that way you don't have to give out your personal phone number. So many people have my personal phone number. I don't care anymore. But get a Google Voice phone number, and what that does, and it's free. And what that does is it gives you a phone number, and when people call it, it can be transferred to your real phone. And it'll say, it's almost like when someone from the jail calls you, because that's what I thought for a while, and I kept deleting people, but and hanging up on people. But it'll say, you know, this person you have a call from, and it'll say, you know, Desiree Alexander, press 1 to accept, and you can accept it, and then they don't really have your personal phone number, but they can still call you. Get business cards. I had somebody tell me, oh, business cards are old. Do people really use them? Yes, people really use them. Now, they may take a picture of it and have it on their phone or on an app, but people really use business cards. And when you get business cards, give them out. The worst thing someone did to me once is say, hey, can you just take a picture of my business card? This is my last one. Excuse me? No, I cannot. Like, you've already lost a little bit of respect. Get a business card, give them out. I don't care if it's your last one. Give it out with a smile and then go order some new ones. Some of the companies I use is Vistaprint for business cards, Weebly or Wix for your website, and it's free. Vistaprint is not that expensive, and you know, make $20 or $30. You can get a big old set of business cards. Fiverr is a website that I use for flyers, logos, things like that, and it's called Fiverr because you usually pay $5 to have somebody create stuff for you, which is awesome, because I created my logo myself and then I sent it to Fiverr and said, make this clean for me, and they did, and they made it clean and transparent and all that kind of stuff. Hootsuite is what I use, and it is free, and they have a paid version, but Hootsuite is what I use to schedule my posts. So to schedule my Twitter going out and my Instagram going out, I use Hootsuite. And I think I'm right on time. Please contact me. I get contacts for all. I do presentations on all kinds of stuff. I get contact all the time. I don't give it out for you not to use it. So here's my email, my website. Please contact me, and it's going to be on the live binder as well. But I really don't give it out for you not to use it. And this is my evaluation, if you don't mind, is to go to my website and you click on contact comments and just leave me a comment on my training. If you want to email it to me, Peggy just put my email up and you're just like, I don't want to go to the website. Email it to me. I'll put it on there for you, and I appreciate doing that. And I'm going
There we
to
go.
be quiet
And we did
until I
have some
get
questions that came in. A couple of them were answered, so I'll just review those really quick to make sure everyone realized that those were answered. Well, someone had asked, is it okay to have your target audience be both professional and personal? And you had mentioned to keep them separate, so that one was answered. Another question was, should your photo be part of your branding? And you talked about getting a professional photo, so that one was answered. And then someone had asked about how do you schedule your post, and then you'd mentioned the Hootsuite was used for scheduling your post. So if you want to add anything to those three, go ahead and jump in real quick there, and then I'll get into the ones that still need to be answered. So anything you want to add to those three?
Yes, well, Hootsuite, and there's also Buffer is another one, Buffer. When I first started out, I started using Buffer, and then I kind of slowly got more into Hootsuite. But those are the two. They are free, and then they have a paid component to it. As for your professional picture, actually you can have a professional picture or a drawing of yourself be part of your logo. That can be your symbol, and I've seen some really, really cute ones for that. That they're actual, like, I haven't seen the real picture, but they'll have someone draw them, and that becomes the logo with like their name on it. So I've seen that, and it was really cute. Or somebody talked about TweetDeck. I use TweetDeck when I'm doing Twitter chats. I don't use it when I don't use it to send out
post, but I do use it when I'm doing Twitter chat.
There we go. And you were talking about the artwork one. I don't know if anyone can see mine because it's so, well, it's a bigger. That's actually a painting. So I went with the art one, although it probably looks like a photo, so probably people don't realize it's actually a painting. All right, so now let's go ahead and get into the brand new ones. So what's the best way to discover what your online brand looks like? Do you just Google yourself? So that one, I think, was more along the line of, I guess after, Peggy's the one that asked this one, so she might be able to type in a clarification. I don't want her to use her voice because she needs to rest it. But
okay.
Do you mean after you get your brand, do you want to see what it looks like out and about? Is that what you meant, Peggy?
And if that is what you meant while you're typing, I'm going to answer that. Definitely Google yourself. Google yourself. You're going to see. Google yourself to see what comes up. Hopefully your website and all that comes up. But also go to Google Images and see what images are out there for you. So that's a good way to see kind of how your brand is going. Also, remember you have your personal account. So one of the things I did when I was creating my logo is I would just put 4 pictures up, like I put 4 pictures on a PowerPoint slide, and I made that a picture, and I put it on Facebook, like, which one do y'all like better? And my Facebook friends kind of picked my font and things like that for me to help me get started. And then after that, once you create, tell your friends, hey, go to my website, see what you see. What do you like? What do you don't like? Be honest. And usually they will, and they'll tell you.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. And then let's see, we had a discussion rolling a little bit about Twitter profile requiring approval, but I think pretty much the back and forth that was going on in the text chat probably handled that. But what's your advice about making your Twitter profile require approval rather than making it public? I tend not to follow people who require permission because I can't learn anything about them before I follow. Do you have any comments you want to make on that one?
I've just started to notice that some people do require permission. It really just depends on your preference, honestly. Mine is completely public. You know, I've only ran into one that I added, and then it was like sexy photos started coming up. I was like, no, I don't think so, and I blocked them. But you know, it really just depends on your experience and what you want. Mine is public. I want to kind of share with as many people as I can as quickly as possible. But if you're running into something like that, you may want to add the permission part to it. It's really up to your preference.
Okay. The next question is about what budget would you estimate is needed to start that branding adventure? $50, $100, more?
That's a really good question. When I started branding, I went free for everything. Like I said, I did my logo myself using PowerPoint. Everything was free. My website was free. Of course, all your social media is free. Then I found Fiverr, and I fell in love with Fiverr because it was $5 to kind of clean up everything and get my social media banners made and things like that. And then, like I said, Hootsuite was free, and then I fell in love with some of the paid versions of that, so I paid $10 a month for that. But you have to, if you pay $10, it's for a whole year. You pay the whole year out. If it's not $10, if you pay monthly, it's $14.99 a month, which I thought was a little steep, so I paid the $10. For your website domain, again, you can get them for like $1 from GoDaddy, or if you're doing like a Weebly or a Wix, they'll sell the domain for you, and you have you know, a 5-year domain, 2-year domain, however you kind of want to do that, so they don't really get expensive. If you want to pay for the paid versions of whatever website you're using, that really depends on what site you're using. I wouldn't get a package for like 10 years because you just don't know where you're going to be. So I would get a package for maybe 1 year to 2 years just to test it out to see if it's something that's worth it. Because I'm telling you now, once you get into this branding game, you start learning so much stuff. And you're like, well, I may not want to do that next year. So you start learning so much more. So I wouldn't spend a whole bunch of money when I'm getting started, because you don't want to spend, $100 on a logo, and then you're like, well, I don't like this logo, I want something else. So you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money when you get started, because you want to make sure it's concrete before you start really investing money into it.
There you go. It sounds very good. And for those of you that might choose things like a domain with Weebly, I can tell you from personal experience that if you do need to move your domain to something else, it's actually pretty easy, because we needed a domain name that I had in Weebly. I needed to move to a GoDaddy server, and it was painless. So if you're worried, oh, well, if I do my domain with Weebly, will it be stuck there if later I want to move somewhere else? So I just thought I'd kind of pop that in there, let you know you're not stuck. They're really easy to work with. I'm sure
all domains,
the other ones are too.
Yeah, even if you get a domain from GoDaddy, you can use it with Weebly. So domains are easy to move around.
Next question. When you were talking about Google Voice, someone was asking, does that work for texting too? So you don't have to put your phone number out there.
I have never tried it for texting. That's a very good question. I know when you sign up, they give you all the directions and things like that. That would be something I have to look into, but if you just Google Voice, you should be able to find that answer, but that's a really good question. I'm not sure.
That sounds good. And that's pretty much hits all the questions that came in. I thought I would just interject another one too. When you're designing your logo and you maybe you don't find a font in Word or whatever tool you're using, if you go to Google Fonts, there's all kinds of free fonts there. If you can't find something that you like to integrate into your logo, but I'd toss that in there.
And you can also, they have urbanfonts.com is another really good one to find fonts that you can incorporate into all the Microsoft platforms too.
And also, whenever you go out to those sites, they'll also tell you what the license is. There's a couple of them that are paid fonts, but they're not too common.
No.
Most everybody that makes a font and puts it out there, they just give it away free. But do be aware that a couple of them might be a paid kind of font. So I'm just going to scan really quick, make sure that there isn't anything that I've missed that's come in since the ones we collected during your presentation. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything.
And while you're talking about fonts, I want to just bring up FlamingText.com is another good one that helps you create like banners and things like that. So you can actually, they have really, really cute fonts. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see the Weebly and the Google little card that you see at the beginning, and all those fonts are made with FlamingText.com.
All right, and unless I'm missing one, and just kind of flag me if I missed a question, I think we've got all the questions that had come in during the presentation and has come in afterwards. So anyone else, this is an opportunity here. If you've been a little shy and you feel like, okay, I just need a little nudge, but now I'm going to ask, this is your little nudge. So any other questions that anyone wants to come in, we can give you the microphone. If you don't want to type it in, that's perfectly fine. We love getting to hear your voice. Okay, Paula, go ahead.
Hi, Desiree. I know this was about branding, but I'm also a little bit curious about how you get started with a consulting business. If you have a few minutes, got a few minutes left, that maybe you could share some of that with us.
Yes. Just a little 1 minute backstory is I was actually at a conference in Texas and hooked up with a lady in Louisiana, which is very weird, that was at a public library. I was a school librarian at that time, and she asked me to come and be a teen librarian consultant for the public library. So I was like, yeah, and educators, we just give away so much. So, she's like, well, how much do you charge? And I said, well, I don't charge any, I'll just volunteer. She's like, no, baby, you need to charge. This is a job. And she said, go to your school district, see how much you get paid per day, and you need to start charging for the things that you do. So she's the one that actually set me off on my consulting business. So that's how I got started. First of all, realizing that everything I do is valuable and that I don't have to charge, arm and a leg for everything, but it is valuable. It's a service that I'm providing. So that was my first kind of wake-up call to me being a consultant. And then after that, I just started providing my services, when things would come up. I was part of an alternative certification program for educational leadership in Louisiana. And I saw some of the things that they were doing, and I kind of spoke up and said, hey, I know how you can do this better. And I can do that for you. And so they hired me as a consultant. I do a lot of things for them. It's really just being confident in what you do enough to say, hey, I see what you're doing. I can help you do that better and more efficient. These are the ways I can do it. And having that brand, I didn't even have a brand when I did that, but having a brand helped. But yeah, and then just the hard thing is to put a price to it. So you kind of have to sit down and go, okay, how much do I want to charge per hour for this? But after you kind of put yourself out there, the ball just starts rolling.
And Desiree, as a follow-up to that, I noticed that when I attended your free branding webinar, I liked the way you did that. You offered a free version of that, and then you did some slides at the end that led you to your, I believe it's a face-to-face that you're giving on branding. Is that correct?
Yes, we already had it. The flood kind of messed us up a little bit in Shreveport, but yes, we had the webinars like this was for free, and then the face-to-face hands-on where we actually, you build the website, you build your logo, like you do all that with us there. That was a paid session.
Alrighty, giving just a moment in case Paula did want to follow up on a return question. Okay, it looks like we're pretty good. Alright, anyone else? If not, I'll go ahead and take us into the next slide. I see some typing, so I'm going to give it just a moment. Yes, indeed. Excellent, excellent presentation. Learned a lot.
Thank you.
There we go. Well, I'll move us forward, and if the people who are typing, if it seems like it's a question, we'll just pop right back. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm going to go forward, and here we go. So the next part is upcoming shows, and so it looks like on April 30th, we're going to have Mike Gorman, PBL and STEM. On May 7th, Todd Nessaloni, I hope I'm not slaughtering the pronunciation, Adam Welcome, and that's going to be Kids Deserve It initiative. May 14th, Nate Balcom, featured teacher, and the March Book Madness and other student projects. May 21st, no show, it's because there's going to be a 4T virtual conference. And then also on May 28th, no show, Memorial Day holiday weekend in the United States. All right, and we always want to mention Steve Hargadon's Learning Revolution project. He founded Classroom 2.0 Live, and he's got all kinds of other projects. If you've never gone there to see all the different things he's got going on, you've got to go visit. He's pulled them all right there into that one place. And Peggy has posted the link to it, so definitely take a look at that. All right, and once you leave the session, you will have a survey. It also gives you an opportunity to nominate a featured teacher. So if you know somebody that you think would be great to have in here and give a presentation about what they do, what they've learned about EdTech, go ahead and nominate them. We would love to have the suggestion. And sorry, my slides are going forward so slow. And also on the survey, please do fill it out. It gives us very valuable feedback that we need to have. And you can also, let me see, there's a certificate, so you can also request a professional development certificate. Make sure that you don't use an email address that would send it to the school, because a lot of times they'll block it. So just use a personal email. It's far more likely to make it to you, so you can get that nice little certificate you can print out. And there's what it looks like if you're ever wondering. It even has your name on it now, which is really, really nice. All right, and also we've got a whole collection of shows for you. We've been doing this now for several years. So you can see the video collection, audio collection. We've got all kinds of resources. We've got iTunes. You can subscribe to us and be able to get shows right there in your feed. We also, don't forget, have got our archive section, and we've got everything from the full video of what we've got all the way to the audio, and just all kinds of resources to really help you catch up on the shows and get what you need. And of course, don't forget about the live binder too, a nice quick place to go. All right, and there's what it looks like when you go to our archives and resources page. So you can see that we've got RSS feeds, we've got all kinds of ways for you to get our shows, full recordings. And we want to especially thank Desiree for coming in and giving this presentation to us. We want to thank Steve Hargadon, who is the founder of Classroom 2.0 Live, also the founder of Teacher 2.0, Future of Education and Learning Revolution. We also want to thank Blackboard Collaborate for providing this webinar platform, and of course all of you, because that's why we do it all, and we want to really thank you for coming on in and seeing us from week to week. And that will pretty much wrap it on up. I'll stop the recording.